everything is sexist.
I have too many brain cells for this. Masculinity confession booth hits Canadian campus. Men asked to disclose sins. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. What kind of sins would that be exactly? The sin of having a Y chromosome? The sin of having genitals that go in the outward direction? The sin of having testosterone? I would really like to know. Please. Can I confess as well? Is that also an option for vagina-wielding peoples? I've never been to a confessional. I would imagine it would go something like this. Spritz, 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 spritz. Forgive me, Holy Father, for I have sinned. What are your transgressions, my child? I have a penis. Full disclosure, I do not have a penis. Let's begin this absolute buffoonery. A Canadian university is hosting a 4-day, 4 whole days. Women get a whole month to celebrate their history, and men, they get 4 days, but it's to wallow in self-guilt and confessionals, otherwise patriarchy. 4-day event where students may enter a confessional booth to reconcile the sin of hypermasculinity. Who was given the authority on this? 'Cause I don't agree, per se, and I would like to write a letter to the congressman or women or Apache attack helicopter, 'cause gender inclusivity. Who decided that hypermasculinity was a bad thing? Let's get real. The University of Regina in Canada and the Man Up Against Violence Initiative organized a series of breakfasts because breakfast helps make this less morally demeaning to the men whom you are essentially demonizing. And for what? Being a tad more manly than your average BuzzFeed character? Workshops and other social gatherings this week at its Saskatchewan campus. The project, which runs Monday through Thursday, seeks to redefine what it means to be a man. What does that even mean? Isn't each experience subjective to the individual, so thus you can't exactly strictly define in definite terms what it means to be a man because everyone's experience is different? Because masculinity is what you would refer to as a spectrum. Like, there are some men who are muscular and buff and chop down trees in the woods or whatever it is that my male family members do for lumberjack weekends. And then there are some who are transvestites or whatever. Meet up with University of Regina Students Union members and make a confession. I would like to confess something. This is utterly ridiculous and there's nothing wrong with being masculine whatsoever at all. Nah. Now, where can I get my free breakfast and will there be pancakes? The group's website reads, "We have all reinforced hypermasculinity one way or another regardless of our gender." Yeah, I can see that. The way I absolutely detest stilettos and wearing skirts. Total sin. Absolute. Blasphemy. That's just not going to change. You might as well hang me for my views. Come and share your sins so we can begin to discuss how to identify and change our ways. How about this? You carry on self-hating and I go with all of my guy friends to the next raceway tailgate, or I drive off with my crew into the sunset on my motorcycle wearing ripped jeans and t-shirts and leather gear and, dare I say it, a fake beard. A 2015 promotional video for the group enlisted the school's coaches, students, athletes, and alumni to discuss the issue, the Daily Caller reported. We don't have to continue to live in a misogynistic society. We don't, so there you go. Carry on. A football player said, "I think changing this falls on everyone and especially men." Especially men? Especially men?
Off with his head!
I think changing this falls on everyone, and especially men, because quite frankly, we are the problem right now. No, you know what the problem is? You're not assigning responsibility where responsibility is due. The only reason I can think of as to why this event is even happening has something to do with the false consensus that masculinity is toxic. The only reason that is the case is because females are less included in things they are not interested in, and happen to feel slighted by this lack of inclusivity. There's this desire to measure up and be as good, if not better, at certain things than men are, and when that's unachievable, they have to overcompensate for their lack of ability and representation and such by shutting down and making masculine endeavors a bad thing. If we can't do it, then neither can you. Take, for example, the popularity of men's sports to that of women's. When men get paid drastically more, and as a result, women get outraged, but that's because men sell better in terms of sports. More people tune into the Super Bowl than whatever the women's football league final game is. My point exactly, though. The group's website adds that its mission is to use education, training, partnerships, and awareness to embrace positive ideals of masculinity. I'm unaware of what the negative ideals of masculinity are, at least yours, for instance, and I would ask for an example, and then I would proceed to say something along the lines of, well, that's subjective, so I don't see the point, and inspire men to accept their role as advocates in the movement to prevent violence in our communities. Wouldn't that be everyone's job to prevent violence in our communities? Why is it just specifically on the men? Don't women play a role in preventing violence from happening? I could be wrong, but that's a thing that should be considered. Masculinity doesn't necessarily have anything to do with violence, okay? And by this I mean, just because you have a penis does not mean that you're going to hit a woman. I don't know how I can make that more clear. If y'all like this episode of Everything is Sexist and wish to contribute your experiences and such, you can email me at weebo0jones@gmail.com with the subject line Everything is Sexist, or at me on Twitter or on mine with the hashtag Everything is Sexist. Till then, toodaloo. I have. Bitch! Are you hydrated enough? Daphne, sit. Go away. I'm busy. I don't have anything. Go. Go get it.